All right, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I'm about to gloat a little bit here. I fucking told you so. For the last 4.5 years, I have been touted as one of the most negative mindsets when it comes to the FPS space. I have talked about the way the industry has shifted away from giving gamers what they actually want. I was infamously known as one of the most negative outlets for Battlefield 2042 when it came out. And I'm happy to say that after playing the beta for 10 hours straight, legit woke up at 2 in the morning, went live, and I've just been playing ever since. I am so happy to say that every single fucking thing that I have said over the past 4 years when it came to not only 2042, but just the way the AAA industry has shied away from giving gamers what they actually want. And basically the mentality of like, if you would just give gamers what they actually have been asking for, you would make money hand over fist. And playing the beta today, seeing the reception online, and seeing the fact that they had just an astronomical amount of players queued up to play an open beta or an early access to an open beta that really at the end of the day doesn't mean anything outside of just testing to see if the game is worth your money. The fact that they had over 1 million players across all platforms clamoring to get into this because everybody sees the potential. They see that maybe for once in their fucking lives, EA actually delivered on something and gave the gamers what they want. That is total vindication for everything that we have ever said on this channel. So I wanted to take a moment to start this video and gloat a little bit. I fucking told you so, EA. I fucking told you so.
Not the kind of person to say I told you so, but you know what? I told you so. I fucking told us so.
Ladies and gentlemen, like I said, I have been playing Battlefield essentially all day today. I have a lot of thoughts on the beta, the state of the beta, which we're going to get into because for some reason, the video that I did the other day talking about the changes that were coming before open beta actually didn't hit. This is, I'm pretty sure, the same build that we played when I went down to LA. For some reason, the recon still has the deploy beacon. The assault class doesn't have their changes. So I'm not sure what was going on there, if that was just like something they're implementing for launch or if we're going to maybe see that in next weekend's test. I have no idea. But for some reason, the build is the exact same build as we played last week in LA. I'm not gonna lie, I'm left feeling incredibly positive. Really, the only thing that I want to do right now, outside of making this video for you guys, is play more. And I am. As soon as I'm done editing and uploading this video, I'm going back to probably either stream or just play offline with my friends. This is the most fun, easily, that I have had in a Battlefield title in almost a decade. I had more fun today than I ever had on Battlefield 5 and 2042. The game, from a visual and audio perspective, is damn near perfect. The immersive nature of the game, just how good it looks, how great it sounds, I'm in, and if you watch any sort of content on Battlefield 6, you already know this. The game itself is just genuine chaos, and it's fun. Jumping into vehicles, driving around, shooting turrets, taking out tanks as an engineer, sniping across long distances in Liberation Peak. It is literal peak. And for the first time in a long time, it just feels so fucking good to play a Battlefield title again. Now, not everything is sunshine and rainbows. I have some thoughts on some things that I've tried out, some things that I have seen. The community is chiming in on a ton of things that have to change before the game launches. But I wanted to just preface this video by saying, as of right now, if this game launched with this kind of gameplay, this kind of polish, with more content, I'm sitting here at about an 8 to an 8.5 out of 10. It is genuinely the best Battlefield title that we have had in just so long. But with that, I wanted to spend some time talking about things that need to be shifted and changed before launch. One of the big things, and this is probably the biggest complaint that the community as well as myself have, is the map design. A lot of people are quick to point out, which kind of validates everything I said in my last video, this game has very small maps in comparison to older Battlefield titles. And the one thing that I'm missing from this game is that large scale conflict where you have things like ATVs, Humvees, tanks, helicopters flying overhead. You have jets and dogfights. The biggest map that we have right now is the map you guys are seeing on screen. This is Liberation Peak. Now, Liberation Peak Conquest, I still think, is the best map in the Battlefield beta, only because it's really the only map with that large scale vehicle, but I still think it's a little bit too small. I want to see bigger maps, and apparently they're going to be coming soon or when the game launches. I don't know if we're going to see it in maybe next weekend's beta, but I've been told that the other maps that haven't really been shown publicly and have been holding back or held back are a lot bigger than what we're seeing here, which is a good thing, but I have nothing to go off. I can't judge it, so it is what it is. That being said, one of the game modes that I've been looking forward to playing a lot of is Breakthrough. Now, when I was in LA and we had a few hours to spend playing the game, I didn't really get a chance to analyze and experience the map over and over and, repeatedly play for hours on end. Today, jumping into Liberation Peak on Breakthrough is absolute cancer. Playing Siege of Cairo Breakthrough is probably the best experience out of the three, and Iberation, what the fuck is it? Iberation Offensive or whatever the other map is, it's not really that great. Matter of fact, in this Breakthrough game here, I went 20-1 in the very first minutes of the game. And I'm not saying that kills are everything. I'm just saying the way that this map is designed makes it incredibly difficult for attackers to attack on this map. Very rarely did I actually see attackers get anywhere close to winning a game today. The way this map is designed just completely locks you in your spawn if you're playing against any sort of competent team. And it really it needs to be shifted around to give us more options to be able to flank this first point. You guys can see this gameplay here in this Iberation Iberian Offensive, whatever fucking map this is, where we were playing Conquest and just took a tank straight into their spawn, engineer healed it, and we wiped the entire team. Look at the scoreboard here. So not only do I think these maps are a little bit too small, there's clearly some problems with spawn traps and locking players in their spawn and finding really clear cheeseball ways to do shit like this. We had 4 engineers on this tank, and we were able to completely contain the entire team in their spawn for the entire game. Look at the scoreboard. This shouldn't be able to happen in Battlefield. And I know we can look back at prior Battlefields and point out to things like this. I don't give a fuck about that. We're in 2025. The map design needs to be better. There needs to be changes. There needs to be more options so that players don't just get spawn trapped in their spawns the entire fucking game like this. Even though we were absolutely bullying the team and I had a good time doing it, I felt really, really bad for the other team who just had to sit there and eat shit for 15-20 minutes. So the map design, I think, is one of the biggest problems with this game right now, and I think it can be fixed. If there's one thing I know about Battlefield's map design, especially seeing what they did after 2042's launch, they can make these changes happen. The problem that I had with the post-launch support for 2042 is it felt like it took so long to get really minuscule changes that literal indie teams could get done in a day, where they throw sandbags in certain places and they set up different, points of cover in different lanes. Something that would take an indie team, a day and a half to do, seemingly took Battlefield and Battlefield Studios months to do, because they have to jump through so many hoops to approve changes to maps. That's one thing I'm worried about going into this launch, is if these maps launch in really bad states or mediocre states that need a ton of small tweaks, how long is it gonna fucking take to get there? The second largest problem that every single person who has experienced it and has chimed in is saying is horrible is the vehicle controls. Not necessarily as much on the tanks and the ground vehicles, but from what I'm hearing, the helicopter and jet controls in this game are worse than 2042's, which were already fucking terrible. I'm not a jet player. I'm not a helicopter player. I'm a terrible pilot in the best games of Battlefield. I don't even want to attempt to take that lack of skill and throw it over here. But from what I'm seeing, unanimous across the board, across Reddit and other social medias like Twitter, every single person who has chimed in is saying the vehicle controls are absolute dog shit. We need to get them fixed before launch. Vehicles are a staple of Battlefield, but what concerns me more is when you combine it with the first point that I have, the fact that the maps don't seem to be built for large-scale, all-out war vehicle combat gameplay. The fact that a lot of people think the vehicles feel like paper and they're kind of useless and not even powerful at all. It kind of seems like this is more of an infantry-focused Battlefield experience, which I'm an infantry player, so maybe that's why I'm having such a great time. But when it comes to the actual veterans of pilots and dogfighting and all that, they don't seem to be enjoying their experience very well at all. And from what I'm hearing, the entire system for jets and helicopter flight controls needs to be completely overhauled before launch. And I don't even know what that means. I'm not even going to dive into it, but it is the biggest community complaint outside of the size of these maps. I've seen quite a few people complain about the time to kill and the way that the guns feel. If I can be honest with you, I didn't really have a problem with the time to kill being too fast or too slow. There were times where I feel like I was putting a few bullets into a guy more so than others, and it was just kind of like a little inconsistent. I'm chalking that up to the fact that they had like 300,000 people trying to play on Steam alone today. Their servers were probably taking a shit kicking, so there might have been some hit reg issues, some ping, latency, anything else like that. I don't know for sure. We'll have to see once we can get into private servers at launch and see how that feels, but realistically, I didn't have a major problem with that. The big problem is the map size, the vehicle controls, and quite honestly for me, that's really about it. Everything else I've been thoroughly enjoying. From the fact that we actually have beta rewards through challenges that if you complete and finish those challenges every weekend for the next 2 weeks, you can actually earn rewards that come out in the game. I love when companies do that. It gives you a reason to consistently play the beta. If I didn't have that, I feel like I've seen everything this beta has to offer, from all 3 of their maps to all of their game modes. There really isn't a reason to keep driving forward because all of my progress on the weapons are just going to revert back. But the fact that we can actually earn rewards for this is pretty cool. And honestly, just from a pure gameplay perspective, I had a fucking blast today. It feels so damn good to be playing a Battlefield game again and to actually talk about it in such a positive light. I have been thoroughly impressed with how today has rolled out. I know a lot of people were in my chat today complaining about not being able to get early access codes and whatever else. I have no fucking idea what was going on there. I'm just focused on the game itself. And when you play it, I think for the most part, people can see that there is a lot of potential for a long-term live service title here that has a great foundation to support the future of Battlefield. And I never ever thought we would be able to say that, especially after 2042, but realistically, just the last decade has really just made me super cynical on this IP. But I think for the first time in a long time, I have a lot of confidence, and I can say that this game is going to be fucking huge. Not only do we have the multiplayer side here, we have the single player campaign, we also have the battle royale coming, which I know is going to usher in a whole ton more people, especially if it's free to play, which is going to take this entire IP on a complete course correction to a brand new level that I don't think has ever been seen in Battlefield. If they nail the landing, if that launch goes smooth, and if they don't shift things up too much from what I just played during this beta. If I could give one piece of advice, this whole locked weapons playlist versus open weapons, you guys need to pick a lane and you need to run with it. Playing both playlists actually doesn't make much of a difference for me. Just because of the Battlefield formula, I'm always inclined to lean towards locked weapon playlists where you have ARs locked to assault, you have SMGs locked to engineer, you have the class specific weapons. I would always lean there because that's Battlefield's formula, but realistically guys, I played both playlists today pretty significantly. I didn't really feel like much changed, but also I know for me, when I find a weapon, I fucking lock into it. Very rarely will you guys see me move off of an M4 or an M433. I usually try to stick with it as much as possible. So maybe that's just my playstyle, not really seeing the use for swapping to a different weapon set. Maybe there's a meta that I'm not really aware of yet. I didn't really feel like I needed to look up a meta build or anything like that. I also understand it's a beta, so maybe I just don't really give a shit right now. But I feel like having 2 playlists with 2 different types of like weapon unlocks is confusing and honestly just kind of dumb. Grow some balls and just pick a direction. If it was me, I would pick locked weapons because I think that would just make the Battlefield fan base happier than they already are. So just go there, go low-hanging fruit, and just earn some more goodwill from your community and have at it. Guys, Battlefield 6 is going to open beta on August 9th. If you end up getting an early access code, you can basically play right now. That's how I played all day today. We were doing Twitch drops, and it was just a really fun time, albeit a little frustrating with the Twitch side of things, but I had such a blast today, man. This game is genuinely so much fun. I already put like 10 hours in today. I'm most likely going to put another 8 to 10 tomorrow, trying to get the rest of these challenges done for weekend 1. I want to upload some gameplay as well. That I had one game where I was absolutely on fire during that breakthrough match on Liberation Peak, and the game is just so fucking good, dude. I want to know what you guys think down below. I wanted to put a video out day 1 of the open beta, letting you know how I'm feeling coming back from the LA event, going into this. Has anything changed? As far as I can tell, it feels pretty much identical to what we played there, albeit a little less content, because at that event, we were able to play things like Squad Deathmatch, which isn't in the beta right now. That's probably going to be rolled out at a later date. But realistically, we didn't see a lot of the changes that they had put out in that blog post a few days ago that I covered on this channel. If you guys want to see that video, it's going to be linked somewhere on screen right now. Go check out that one so you kind of know what's in store moving into future open beta weekends and the launch. My name is Big Fry. Thank you guys for watching. Leave a like on the video, subscribe for more Battlefield 6 content, and I'll see you on the next one.